bringing sports, entertainment, and technology podcasts together. This is SPNT.
Red vs. Red is brought to you by Stitcher Smart Radio. Download the Stitcher Smart Radio app today at stitcher.com/SPNT. What's happening, everybody? It's Red vs. Red here on the SPNT Podcast Network. Had a couple weeks off there for the holiday. Glad everybody could join us. Nick Suberling, alongside my cohort, my friend, all the way across the pond, Mike Smith. Mike, what's happening, bud?
I'm good, man. Christmas, Happy New Year to you and the family. It's been epic, hasn't it? Really, 4 games since we last spoke, and it feels as though it's been such a long time. It was so long ago since we last spoke about our beloved Reds.
That's right. It's been a long time. Although you and I we've probably talked every day. You know.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy your Boxing Day?
Yeah, I did. I was also up back in Liverpool with the family. I enjoyed most of the day. Well, I enjoyed about 54 minutes of Stoke versus Liverpool, and then I just couldn't do it anymore, my friend. We got the board game out, which probably tells you, which is probably going to tell you what I've got in store for the rest of the podcast. I was so unhappy with the performance, but I did enjoy my Boxing Day. Did you enjoy your day at work?
Yes, I did enjoy it. I was fortunate enough to have Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off, but then I did actually enjoy my Boxing Day, although we don't call that here. I was able to watch the game at work, so I'll, I can't complain.
I did enjoy the day after Boxing Day with a 7-hour drive home and a 3-hour traffic jam for people going to IKEA. Thanks very much, people of Warrington. You sad people.
Nothing wrong with IKEA.
Oh, God, when you have to go for a 3-hour traffic jam to say you got 10% off a coffee table, there is something very wrong in this world.
Well, if you like the rant that Mike is going on already, just wait till we talk a little bit about Liverpool FC. Liverpool did not have the best of breaks, although you could say they fixed that today a little bit. But we'll touch on Liverpool, of course. We'll also talk about Manchester United. 3 wins out of 4, you'll take it at the Christmas break or the Christmas, I don't know what you want to call it, Christmas part of their schedule. They've done well. But we didn't do a coin flip, but because I'm in the giving mood, Mike, I'm going to let you go first because I am in the mood to laugh because I know you're going to go off. How in the world?
I've got a new headset, so it's all nice and clear for our listeners out there. So,
how in the world? You did get a nice new headset. It looks fantastic, by the way. It sounds pristine. I love it. So I watched a little bit of, in fact, you know what, why don't we, let's kick off our whistle music. There we go. All right. How in the world? I watched Wigan versus Aston Villa. I don't know. Don't ask me why I watched this because it was dreadful. But after 2 minutes, Wigan up 1-0 and looking like Chelsea compared to Aston Villa. It was awful. So my question to you, Mike, is how in the world did Liverpool lose to Aston Villa? Ugh.
I'm surprised you spared me just the Wigan game. What about the Chelsea game? What about Villa-Chelsea?
That was awful. That was awful.
8-0. In my opinion, Nick, Liverpool should have been deducted more points for the fact of losing to Aston Villa. Never mind, the fact that we actually went and after the Villa game, we responded magnificently with a great 4-0 win over what was quite a poor Fulham team. I was expecting much more from Fulham with Dimitar Berbatov, and do you know what? He was actually the best player for Fulham that night, and it was. I did feel a bit sorry for. And I know you probably have a very different view of Dimitar Berbatov than I do, Nick. But
I don't mind.
I felt quite sorry for him really because he was the best player by a country mark in comparison to the rest of them. But it just seems as though Fulham were on Christmas break early. They turned up and they were hammered 4-0. Great game for the Reds. That was a nice way to respond with a clean sheet as well. And then we come to Boxing Day. we go away to Stoke City, and why on earth Brendan Rodgers does this? He prepares the same team which played Fulham. Now, when you go away to Stoke, you know what you're going to get. You know you're going to get the long ball. You know you're going to get a big target man up front. Or you know you're going to get Stoke City trying to play down the wings with Matthew Etherington and with Jonathan Walters. And Liverpool just seemed totally unprepared for this. I mean, for their first goal, Martin Skirtle was pushed out of the way by boyhood Everton fan John Walters, who puts the ball up. I just need to add as well, actually, they actually did take the lead in the second minute with our first penalty of the season. Coincidentally, Howard Webb was the ref, so I can't complain anymore that Liverpool don't get anything from Howard Webb. We got a penalty in the second minute. Stephen Gerrard, thank you very much. Stoke's second goal, poor defending from a corner. Kenwyne Jones with a free header after he loses Daniel Agger. I mean, Kenwyne Jones, who he's not the quickest of people, but it was pretty poor defending by Agger. Who lost the Trinidad and Tobago international, who made it 2-1 to Stoke. And then matters got worse in the second half after Kenwyne Jones again lays a header down for Jonathan Walters to hit on the volley past Pepe Reina, who really should have done a lot better, I thought, to make it 3-1 for Stoke. That was coming up to 54 minutes, and by this time, Nick, I was angrier than Ray Lewis in an Atlanta nightclub. It was just so bad.
That was a nice analogy. I was not expecting that. Wow.
I was with my family on Boxing Day. I was with my wife, my brothers, my sister, and their boyfriends and girlfriends, and very kindly they'd let me the laptop to log in and watch the game. And to be honest, I turned it off. I was so sick of it. I turned it off. Read the report when the game had finished. Nothing much had changed. Liverpool just petered out. And it angers me greatly that we didn't do our homework. We didn't prepare for a game away like Stoke. And what happens? Stoke City, under the full glare, they get all the praise from the media, etc. What happens? They go to Man City and they get thrashed 4-0 because they can't stand the limelight. And it annoys me that you get teams like Stoke who put in the effort against Liverpool, but when it comes to playing the next game with a bit of spotlight, they seem to capitulate before they've even got out the tunnel. And I think, one, it's a criticism of Stoke, but secondly, it's a criticism of Liverpool itself because we're not doing the homework necessary to beat the little teams. Anyway, onwards and upwards.
Well, come on, let's be realistic here, though. I mean, Stoke has always been tough to beat at home, Mike. I mean, that's just their staple.
Yeah, but Man United do it quite easily. They do it easily every single season, and right. The investment that Liverpool put in and the players that we have, I mean, you compare their squad to ours, and we really should be doing better. I mean, I can go on looking at the table tonight. Liverpool have got a goal difference of +8. Stoke have got a goal difference of +1. Stoke City have scored half the number of goals that Liverpool have this season. I mean, 3-1 was the most they've scored in the game this season, and apparently, Reina, Agger, Skirtle's meant to be one of the better defensive units in the league, and it just wasn't to be again. And it was just the ease of their goals as well. And we have it every single season. We go to Stoke City, we always seem to get beaten off the ball, and it's just it makes you sick after a while. And when you watch the likes of Chelsea, United, City go there and easily put a couple of goals past them, you just make you wonder. It's blatantly obvious what you got to do. You got to play ugly, but we insist on playing small guys and nice, and try and play nice football around them. You just don't get the time to do that at Stoke City, unfortunately. So I can understand. They've done well. They've got a better team than they have. Probably since they've been in the Premier League, they invest well, but it's a team that Liverpool needs. They need to beat. But anyway, onwards and upwards. It was QPR 0, Liverpool 3. QPR easily the worst team in the Premier League I've seen Liverpool play at the moment. Well, we'll come to that in a second. You can shake your head all you want. We'll come to that in at the end of this. Liverpool's 3, QPR 0. Suarez with 2 easy goals. Suarez, he took the ball past Clint Hill. I mean, Clint Hill is slower than the rotation of the earth. It was all too easy for.
Man, you are on fire today.
I know. It was just so easy for the Uruguayan international. Daniel Agger with a header just before half time. The game was over before the half, and Liverpool even threw on a couple of youngsters just to blood. It was such an easy game. And tonight, Liverpool 3, Sunderland 0. Fantastic, fantastic. Suarez with 2 goals, and Raheem Sterling opens the account for Liverpool in 2013. Big news out of Anfield: we signed a striker.
It's about time.
We signed Daniel Sturridge from Chelsea. I'm a little bit concerned. I think, again, I'm paying too much money for a British centre-forward who has, in the past, been a little bit of a prima donna at Chelsea for not getting games. But we need that centre-forward. Barini's coming back from injury. It looks as though Joe Cole's going to be leaving Anfield in the next couple of days. He's going to go on a free transfer to West Ham. I think that's a great move for him. Gets him off the wage bill at Anfield, and secondly, he goes back to his boyhood team going toward the end of his career. So I'm more than happy, for the lad. I mean, I can't fault. He's tried, but he's just not cut out for this level of football anymore. And a good luck to him at West Ham and under Big Sam's hammers. So he's
moving up in the table.
No, he's moving down.
Not by much.
He's moving down. He's moving down 3 places.
Yeah, that's probably what, 2 points.
Tell you now. No, it's 4.
Yeah,
and he scored the winner against West Ham.
He
so
did.
He
did. That's ironic.
The irony, so to speak. So Liverpool are now up to 8th after tonight's 3-0 win over the Black Cats. We're just behind West Brom, Arsenal, and Everton at the moment for those European places. Arsenal, I thought we were going to start going a bit of a run. Sort of capitulated at the weekend with a 2-2 draw against Southampton. Everton won tonight against Newcastle 2-1, and West Brom are now probably looking like they're starting to wobble a little bit and starting to make their plummet towards mid-table. We're ahead of Swansea, which is great in terms of being Brendan Rodgers' former club, and they've got some cracking players down there in South Wales, as you'll probably go on to in the Man United half of the podcast.
That's right.
Next game for the Reds is away at Mansfield Town in the FA Cup third round. Now Mansfield play in the fifth tier of English football. It's a great day for them. They're a tiny little team. They're going to get a sellout crowd. They're going to get Liverpool, one of the most famous names around the world, coming to their stadium in front of the cameras. They're going to get a couple of £100,000, which will keep that club going for the next couple of years. It's the FA Cup. It's fantastic. It's the greatest cup competition in the world, but I think the Reds are going to be too much for the Stags of Mansfield Town. So I'm going to predict a 3-0 win. I think they'll go easy on them. Maybe put out a couple of the kids, and as soon as the scoreline gets to 3-0, I think we'll take the foot off the gas.
Well, hey, let's talk a little bit more about Sturridge, because that is big news. When you look at the signing that they've made here, here's a guy who we know his abilities. We know he's capable of scoring goals.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times there at Chelsea, you got to remember who he was stuck behind. He was stuck behind Torres and Drogba, and there was no real chance of him getting any time up front. Now, they wanted him to play on the right side, but he really was pretty adamant about not doing it. And I don't know if that had any barring on what went down with the transfer this year. He hasn't gotten a lot of game action this year that I can recall. There's nothing that is sticking out in my mind or in my memory of seeing him do anything of relevance for Chelsea so far this year.
He was unlucky last year in terms of the Drogba was playing so well for Chelsea. He was playing better than Torres was. I mean, he scored 13 goals last year for Chelsea, and he was mainly used.
Better than Torres? Right.
Yeah. So he scored 13 goals last year for Chelsea. That was in the league. He was mainly used as an impact player. He did actually score a goal against Liverpool when we beat Chelsea 2-1 at the Bridge last season. So he has got that he has got the pedigree, but like you say, he was mainly placed on the right hand side of the front three. Now, My concern comes that Brendan Rodgers tends to play a front three as well, and Luis Suarez has really sort of made his name now playing in the centre and having that freedom. So it somewhat concerns me maybe that Brendan Rodgers is just going to stick him out again on the right hand side of this front three, where I think Sturridge wants to play in the centre. He wants to be that fox in the box, but the way he's built, he's not. I don't think he's necessarily that type of player. However, he scored 13 goals in the league last season for Chelsea. He's a Champions League winner. Honestly, he is. So that he comes with that pedigree. He knows the club. He's played in the league, and playing alongside Suarez and Gerrard, I suppose that can only make you a better player. He'll probably get more chances at Liverpool as well than ever he did at Chelsea. I mean, it seems to be the fashion, doesn't it? You move to Chelsea, you just sit on the bench. Demba Ba, take note. So,
yeah, no kidding.
Exactly. So, it's a positive move. I'd like to know how much it's for. I mean, it's undisclosed, but I think there were some fees being banded around about £12 million, which.
Now this isn't a loan, right? This is a transfer.
It's a permanent transfer.
Wow.
Rafa Benitez sells to his old club, so whether that's had something bearing on it as well. Whether Hope Benitez is actually doing us a favour rather than selling as a dud. But while he was at Chelsea, he did make noises about he wanted to be one of the top wage earners. He felt he was one of the better players at Chelsea, and that he should be rewarded so. But but as his record shows. Although he scored a few goals, he didn't actually start that many last season. Has only started one game this season, so it makes you think. Has he got the right attitude, or is he even good enough to play at Liverpool? And I just worry after the whole Andy Carroll outlay and that transfer. Are we making the same mistakes as we have done in the past with regard to our transfers? So it's going to be interesting to see what he's going to do toward the end of the season. He didn't play tonight. We won 3-0, so it already seems like, oh well. We seem to be doing all right without him. So,
sitting eighth in the table, that's good too.
Yeah, we 3 wins out of 4 over the Christmas period. We're on a better run than we were at the start of the season. We seem to have got the goal difference up. I mean, agreed. We're nowhere near as good as Man United at the moment. We're not. We're nowhere near as good as they are. But looking at the table and the way it's shaping up, I don't see why we couldn't. Look to challenge for that fifth, even that that top 4. I mean, Chelsea are on 38 points. We're on 31. We've got a lot. There's still a lot of games to go. We can still catch up with Chelsea. You're going on the right run of results, so to speak, and hopefully the signing of Daniel Sturridge, and we think Thomas Ince might be coming into Anfield the next couple of days as well. Can only do. It can only help the team rather than rather than make the team worse.
No, I agree. I think you're going to see more goals. I mean, it's only going to help Suarez because he has no help. So,
well, we've had many times in the season where we've had a ridiculous amount of possession where we just not put the ball away in the net. The Villa game where we thrashed them for the first 30 minutes and nobody's put the ball in the net, and then they go ahead and score 3 goals in a break. If we'd have put those chances away, put those chances away in the first 30 minutes, we could have actually we could have done something. We could have done a lot better than we did.
Well, that's halftime here at Red versus Red. We're so glad you could join us. I'm Nick Sumerling, hanging out with my friend Mike Smith. We're covering Liverpool and Manchester United. We've been doing it all season so far. We hope everybody had a fantastic holiday break, a fantastic New Year's. I know that I did, and we'll talk about Manchester United here in just a bit. But just a reminder, we'd love to hear your feedback. Please send us your emails at redversusred@spnt.tv. You can also give us a follow on Twitter. We are at SPNT_Red versus Red. We'd love to hear from you, so please send us your tweets. You can also rate and review the show on iTunes. We'd love to hear your feedback, whether it's good or bad. Please leave us a review in the iTunes store. We certainly would appreciate that as well. Mike, do you happen to have a shout out?
I've got an angry shout out, if that's
sure,
if that's allowed.
Shout out.
That works. Who you got?
Yeah, someone we follow on Twitter. It's Footy at USMNT, US Men's National Team follower. Yeah. What are you talking about, man? You constantly go on and on and on about how bad Liverpool are. You never ever have a one-sided, a fair. No, you always have a one-sided argument. You never have a fair argument about how badly the Reds are playing. Grow up, get a life, man. It's only a game.
Mike, that's me on Twitter.
No,
I'm just kidding. That is a wow, getting a little feisty here. I like it.
Yeah, I suppose it also got a shout out to my wife for buying me this lovely headset, so I can hear the world of SPNT in greater clarity. And to be fair, our listeners can hear us in much greater clarity. Yeah, and a shout out to listeners. Happy Christmas, Happy New Year. Let's hope that 2030 is going to be a good one.
Absolutely.
Especially for you Americans who are going to go bankrupt in the next few months with this fiscal cliff thingy. So
they fixed it. They signed a deal yesterday.
Yeah.
Let's not get into that. You mentioned IKEA. I got to give a huge shout out to my wife, Sarah, for Christmas. Got me this brand new desk from IKEA. It's awesome. I love it. Thank you very much, Sarah. Appreciate it. I love you. Oh, we just got sappy here on Red versus Red. Yikes.
You're so middle class, Nick.
I am. Nothing wrong with that. All right. Thank God for that whistle. It's now the second half of Red versus Red, where we're going to talk a little Manchester United. And we should, because, frankly, Mike, they're at the top of the table. I don't see anybody passing them. The 7-point lead right now over Manchester City. Things are looking good. A goal differential of 22. We'll take it. A couple weeks ago, they drew at Swansea 1-1. Kind of a disappointing game. It was real bland, nothing great. I'm not surprised. Swansea, they do handle the ball, and they manage to keep the ball a lot, so it's awfully tough to score against them. But you'll take a 1-1 draw there at the Liberty Stadium. They move on, and then what I would say was the craziest game of the winter schedule, a 4-3 thrilling come-from-behind win against Newcastle. Newcastle up 1-0. United come back 1-1. Newcastle goes up 2-1. United 2-2. Papi Cisse makes it 3-2. And then you're thinking, what is going on? This is at Old Trafford, of all places. Newcastle coming in and just running the show. But in the end, Chicharito and Mr. Van Persie, the Premier League leading scorer, comes through. United win 4-3 on a late goal from Javier Hernandez. Alan Pardew not happy. An own goal by Johnny Evans that seemed to spark a ton of debate on whether or not Sir Alex Ferguson should have been having a go at the ref like he did. Sir Alex thought that Demba Ba was offside. It might even have been Cisse. I can't remember who it was, but he thought that they were offside when the shot was made. Johnny Evans, regardless, it was an own goal. Johnny Evans put them in that position. Thankfully, it didn't come back to haunt them because they still got the 3 points. But it was just a weird game. But thankfully, United pulled through with a 4-3 win over Newcastle. Then they take on West Brom in what I thought was a very pedestrian, very boring fixture. Wasn't anything great. You'll take a 2-0 win over West Brom, a team that has been playing well of late, and in the top half, they were in the top half of the table. I think they still are. But you'll take a 2-0 win over them. That's the first time seeing West Brom this year, so 2-0. I don't know. Maybe you can expect that kind of result against them. But then 4-0. They head to Wigan, and they go to the DW Stadium where they avenged last year's 1-0 defeat late in the season. They whip up on Wigan 4-0. Beautiful. 2 poachers' goals. Robin Van Persie and Chicharito both scoring 2 goals. And I love it. They're winning. They're continuing to score goals. And they're doing all of this, Mike, without one Wayne Rooney.
Yeah. Robin Van Persie says he's in a team of champions, which is not so good for the rest of the Premier League. I'll get it out. There we go. I'm. It's not fair, is it? It's just not fair for the rest of the Premier League. This team is so good. This team is so good at going forward. And you had a mention. You mentioned Wayne Rooney. He's not been playing that very much for United because of his injury. Van Persie top scores 19. Guess who's second?
Second. It's not Wayne Rooney.
It's Hernandez.
He's second now?
12 goals.
Wow, I did not know that. I was honestly thinking it was Michu from Swansea.
In the United team.
Oh. Well,
second Suarez.
Now that you've clarified that, okay. Yes, I did know that Hernandez was second on the team. Yes, that makes sense.
Just going back to the Newcastle game, Pardew called Fergie a hypocrite, and then Fergie came back and said Pardew's a hypocrite.
And that wee little team up in the Northeast.
Oh, 52,000 fans a week? Is that really being a wee small team in the Northeast? That's a bit naughty of him to say.
Compared to 85,000?
Yes, but I remember United were getting 45,000 as well every week in the mid-90s. It's only since the Champions League they've added like a new tier to their stands every season and getting 80,000 odd. So they have been there before. So you can, as far as it was a bit disrespectful, and I thought that maybe Pardew got under Fergie's skin for him to say that.
You don't mess with Sir Alex, though. When are a coaches going to learn? Right? I mean,
yeah,
just don't.
Yeah, I think Rafa Benitez can take note. Do you remember his rant, fact, on all his facts?
Oh yeah, so absolutely.
I'm just of the view that it was a bit naughty of Ferguson to say that, and I'm surprised he didn't necessarily get into a lot of bother. I'm sure he's going to be felt very welcome when he goes back to when he goes back to Newcastle next season. Yeah, but the rest of the games, United 2, West Brom 0, so easy. I think West Brom, like I said, are in a sort of mid-season free fall, and Swansea 1, United 1. What a good player Michu is, eh? He's a fantastic player, isn't he?
He's really. I would not be surprised to see another team come in and swoop him up during the summer.
I can't believe he was bought for $2 million.
He arrived at Swansea, but yeah. I don't know. To see what he's doing,
£2 million.
Impressive.
£2 million he cost Swansea City. But you do think, though, without Michu, where would Swansea be? Everyone goes on about, where would Liverpool be about Luis Suarez? I don't necessarily think Swansea would be that better off if they didn't have Michu. I mean, having watched Danny Graham at the weekend, he's not a very good centre forward at the moment,
right.
Is he?
No, he's not.
And also, did you see Ashley Williams against Robin van Persie in the Swansea game after Ashley Williams kicked the ball against Robin van Persie's head?
And he could have killed Robin van Persie,
according to Alex Ferguson. But you know what?
I see what Alex was saying there, though, because I mean it was dangerous, and he did it intentionally. Yeah. You cannot tell me that was not intentional.
I totally agree with Alex Ferguson on this point. Ashley Williams has come out in the past, ever since he's been a Premier League footballer, he's been really outspoken about players who he feels are dirty, who dive, who cheat. I mean, he put out a big column in his book about how he wouldn't shake Luis Suarez's hand. But really, he's just as bad as the rest of them, Ashley Williams. He's a dirty footballer. And to do what he did against Robin van Persie it just showed a sign that he's not very good. And the fact that, he's just... He's probably going to be, he looks an average player. He had a good season last season for Swansea, but he's been now found out by the rest of the skillful players, right. Especially Man United's skillful players. And he's just coming out, going off his head because he just wants to be maybe in the limelight. I just felt that it was a stupid thing to do, and I think maybe the FA should have looked into it, with greater analysis. Rather than they always go on about rescinding yellow cards, rescinding red cards, and who's dived in that. Maybe we should look at people like Ashley Williams to try and get out the dirty side of the game.
I'm with you.
Moving on a bit more positive notes, goal difference 26, 52 points. You need 40 points to be safe from relegation. United have already done that, so they're Any fears of relegation you had there, Nick, have been exactly. But while we've been away, the draw for the Champions League.
Yes, they are going to face Real Madrid. This makes me very nervous. Madrid, although not having their best campaign as far as La Liga goes, I'm pretty sure they're well far behind Barcelona right now in that table. So for them, really, the ultimate prize now is Champions League. They're going to put their full emphasis on Champions League play. The good news for United, this is really good news, is they've got Vidic back. Kagawa is back, so that is great because they're going to need help in the midfield. Giggs and Scholes aren't going to cut it in the Champions League. It's not going to happen. They also want to maintain their 7-point lead over City. So it's a delicate balance. Would I be upset if they lost to Real Madrid and get knocked out in the first round of the Champions League? Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised. I honestly would rather them win the Premier League title after what City did to us a year ago. I want it back. I'm tired of hearing them being called champions. But at the same time, I'd like to see Sir Alex get that third Champions League cup, that ever elusive European cup that he's been looking for. So it's going to be a tough draw. It'd be nice to see Cristiano back at Old Trafford. It'd be really nice to see him back in a United jersey, but we know that's not happening anytime soon. But I don't know. I think Real Madrid's beatable.
The whole game's been built up about Cristiano Ronaldo versus Manchester United. Again, the return of the prodigal son.
That's right.
Although you say it's unlikely that Ronaldo's going to come back to United, there has been reports that he's not happy in Madrid, and that his second team, he very much still has. He's still very much in love with Man United. You didn't realise what you've got until you've gone. And I guess United moved on without him. I think he's still got a lot of friends and the best football of his career in terms of in terms of a team itself, rather than being in this figure of isolation he has at Real Madrid, was at Manchester United. But United have moved on. They've bought Van Persie in. They've bought Kagawa in since he's gone, and the money they've generated from that sale has. Well, it's improved the team, arguably. They had the down year last season. Fergie sort of realised that, we're going to need some extra firepower. So what does he do? Goes out and buys Kagawa, goes out and buys Van Persie. And also he's built a defence around Smalling and Jones, and Vidic has come back as well. So I think, United have definitely moved on. And it's Fergie's old saying, isn't it, of no one player is bigger than the club. So although it's unlikely, I'm not saying never say never, but it is the tie of the round, and like you say, Madrid are 18 points behind Barcelona at this stage.
Wow.
It's a long. Well, they've been poor. They've been really poor this season in the Liga, Real Madrid, and they have got to focus on the Champions League. And it looks as if though Mourinho is going to leave Madrid at the end of the season. There's been a couple of reports that maybe. If Fergie gets number 20 back, that could be it, and Mourinho is all set to come in to Man United. I personally think they're just rumours. I think Alex Ferguson's got the hunger, he's got the desire, he's got the team, to build around him. I think he's going to be there for a good few years yet before even Mourinho gets a sniff at that seat at Old Trafford.
I agree.
Just other minor news: £7.4 million signing Bebe is again sent out on loan for Man United, the player which Ferguson admits that he never saw actually play. And also, I think is also, I believe, having read it, his agent is somewhat of a shady character. And also reading the little article about Bebe, it also quotes, an anti-corruption unit is examining the transfer to establish how an estimated £3 million of the fee was paid to Jorge Menendez's Gestafe football agency, who is Bebe's agent. So I think there's been a little bit of dodgy dealings going on there between agents and between football club, and somehow Manchester United have seemed to found in the middle of it. So
nice.
Yeah, it's fair to say, Bebe, I don't think he's got much of a future left at Old Trafford.
Probably not.
Anyway,
if you could sign, let's think about this real quick before we wrap things up. If you could sell Nani, and I don't, it would never happen, but if you sold Rooney and brought in Ronaldo, would you do that? It won't happen, but it's fun to think about, I guess.
If you sold Nani and you sold Rooney, but you brought in Ronaldo, no, I'd stay with what you have, because Nani does actually provide some sort of outcome. You know, so he can actually score a couple of goals. When
I don't think he's going to be here for much longer. I think he's going to be sold.
No, I don't either. But I think that Ferguson sees it from he has two players who would probably walk into most teams where he'd swap Ronaldo, just for one. And I think that Rooney, in terms of Wayne Rooney, he is Manchester right. United. I don't see him selling Wayne. It's not going to happen. But even if I think he got offered the deal, I don't necessarily think he'd take it. I think Ferguson would rather just get rid of Nani, take the fee, and then move on and try and find someone else using the scouting network, or maybe he's got his eye on Wilfried Zaha's being suggested might be coming to Manchester, the Crystal Palace winger stroke centre forward. Believe me, he's a very good player. I saw him play for Palace last season. He's very raw. He's very, very skillful. Needs a bit of work on his finishing, but I think he's a Premier League player of the future.
That music means stoppage time here on Red versus Red. Big result today, Mike, out of London. QPR winners over the Blues. Chelsea 1-0. Good old Harry Redknapp gets a win, gets 3 points over Rafa. How stunned are you?
Well, QPR travel up the Fulham Road, and to quote a very an idol of mine, Mr. Garrison from South Park. Okay, let's all point and laugh at Chelsea, children.
I'm stunned.
Do you know what makes it so funny? Chelsea with the 8-0 win, and all their wins over Christmas, it was all like, we believe in Rafa, we love Rafa. Final whistle today, boos all around the bridge. They're so fickle. They're so fickle down the bridge. It is unbelievable. Great result for QPR, though, considering they got thrashed by Liverpool, earlier in the week. Sean Wright-Phillips comes back to haunt the club, which basically ruined his once promising career as well. So I tell you what, though, at the bottom now, QPR, Reading, both on 13 points. Wigan are on 18, with Southampton on 18 as well. It's tightening up. It always happens every season. It tightens up. And Newcastle, 32 points away from relegation. You'd have thunk it this time last season they'd be in the situation that they're in at the moment. The league is crazy. The league, quite frankly, at the moment is absolutely crazy. It's crazy at the moment. And although it looks as if at the top end of things, United have got to wrap up the league, sooner rather than later. At the bottom, it's looking absolutely. Well, it's looking as tight as I remember it, and I think someone like Harry Redknapp, he says he could keep QPR up, and who are we to deny him? Who are we to deny Harry Redknapp?
I think he may have a chance. I still think Villa's going down. My preseason prediction's still looking like a lock.
They've got a goal difference of -24. I think that could really hurt them toward the end of the season in terms of goal difference. And it just seems as though it's a poisonous place, Villa Park, at the moment. It just doesn't seem to be a very happy atmosphere there. Yeah. They've got what to expect from a former Cleveland Browns owner. What do we expect from a former Cleveland Browns owner?
That is true. By the way, United this weekend in the third round of the FA Cup head to London to take on the Hammers. I'll predict a 3-0 win for United. And then the big match, Mike, coming up after that on the 13th. You and I are going to go head-to-head again.
What match is that, Nick? Go head-to-head? What, we're going to play on FIFA again? Am I going to win?
Wow. Just for that, when we're done with this, I'm playing you. All right. Well, hey, Mike, it's been grand. We'll catch up next week, my friend.
No problem. Good to speak to you, mate. I'll see you next week.
Your headset sounds fantastic. And that's going to wrap up this edition of Red vs. Red. Red vs. Red is an SPNT production. For more information about our other podcasts, log on to spnt.tv. For Mike Smith, I'm Nick Suberling. We'll see you next time on Red vs. Red.